against all odds. All praises to the Most High. Yeah.
I never thought I'd see the light of day.
Never see the light of day.
The dark it gripped me in my heart so long.
In my heart so long.
Now I think I finally found the way.
Found my way.
Even though I fought against all odds.
Coming up, rainy days always in the forecast. Robbing Peter Pan, Paul, punting TVs for cash. We didn't have food stamps, they say mama made too much. We were picking between meals, we can call it brunch. Ran a dance off in the living room is where we call fun. Mama trying to shake some just to keep the lights on. Candles lit, no, I ain't talking no vigil. Death to an innocence that was kept civil, yeah. Birth of a demon that kept my spirit triple. Swaying left and right, now I walk with Christ in the middle. 12 rounds, devil didn't waste no angle, nah. Pound for pound, he stay wrestling with my angel, yeah. Ooh, oh. Old thoughts taking over when you're trying to crown me, yeah. These laws loosen up, these shackles trying to bound me.
I never thought I'd see the light of day.
Never see the light of day.
The dark it gripped me in my heart so long.
So long, so long.
Now I think I finally found the way.
I found my way.
Even though I fought against all odds.
Against all odds.
According to the eyes, should have been dead or missing. Should have had me perpetrated, making victims. A repeat name in the system.
Back again? Nah.
I miss Washington, it's nice to meet you. Not reflecting on me, steady pointing the finger. While I blame everybody for everybody that I frequent. These failed relationships just become a pattern sequence. Bible grievance, entertaining demons. Shall I enter in the rest again and popping on the weekend? Pull a little something, something just to draw the weekend. Life flash before my eyes, ain't talking Nikon. Trouble in the way, should let bygones be bygones. Weeping endured many nights, moon reflecting off my tears. Yeah, his some in my ears. One day you reap joy, I wipe the pain away. Make these trials seem like they didn't even last a day.
I never thought I'd see the light of day.
Never see the light of day.
The dark it gripped me in my heart so long.
Looking at my heart, yeah.
Now I think I finally found the way.
Alright.
Even though I fought against all odds.
Fought against all odds. Fought against all odds.
Against all odds.
I should have been dead.
Against all odds. All odds I fought against.
Fought against all odds.
Yeah.
Hold up.
Yeah.
If you ever been delivered, you should clap your hands. If you ever been delivered, you should clap your hands. If you ever been delivered, you should clap your hands. You should clap your hands. You should clap your hands. If you ever been delivered, you should clap your hands. If you ever been delivered, you should clap your hands.
1, 2, 3, sing!
I never thought I'd see the light of day.
Never thought I'd see the light of day.
The dark it gripped me in my heart so long, yeah.
So long.
Now I think I finally found the way.
We found our way.
Even though I fought against all odds.
All odds.
Shalom Israel, it's your Captain Shaquat of Northern House of Saints. I'm here to give you the verse of the day. So today I'm going to bring out 2nd Esdras chapter 9 and verse 2. Then shall you understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. Look, man, there's things that's going on in the world right now. We got famine, the uproar and prices on food. You know, you got earthquakes happening all over the world. There's things that's happening in this book that if you don't read it, you will never know what's going on. So my suggestion is get back in this book and read. I'm your Captain Shaquat of Northern House of Saints. Shalom.
Shalom, I'm your brother Aharon.
Hey, man, we got a recommended scripture of the day today from the brother who showed up at camp today, our brother Keith. We're in the book of Isaiah, chapter 14 and verse 1. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were. And they shall rule over their oppressors. And it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear and from thy hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve. Hey, yo, listen, the Most High God is going to bring us into our own land, and those people who have had us captives will become captives. With that, your brother Aharon, Shalom.
AHOS.
It's your brother All from the Anointed House of Saints, coming at you with the verse of the day. It's Baruch chapter 3 and verse 8. Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from Yahweh our power. So we have to understand that we're in the situation that we're in all around the world, and especially in America, because we've discontinued from the laws that God gave us, right? And he's punishing us for those things. So every day we have to make it a thing for us to come back to the law, statutes, and commandments, keep the faith in Christ, and to gather together, right, for the feast days and everything like that. And as a nation, to start this autonomy thing, right? So that's what it is, man. That's the verse of the day, Baruch 3 and 8. Shalom.
AHOS.
Jonathan got bars, man. He got bars. But he always making slow music, man. I want to pray to his music and meditate. He can't get hype, man. Sometimes I want to get hype for the Lord. Come on, man.
Blood on the post. 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 Blood on the post, 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 keeping them close. Man, we got fringes and seats on the clothes. Me and my brothers ain't sleeping, we reading the secrets. The deepest you've been is the ocean. Now we've been swimming in waters that's deeper than rivers to Jordan. We creeping up on them. It's the 14th of the month. Bone Thugs one day late for the show. Oh. Ain't never been out, ever since Red Pen Pals. You too late, you let them in now. We like veterans, niggas us power. These secrets only come through steady, no regrets. We walk through water like Jesus. We raising the dead, you see this. Look at this evening pose. Blood on the post, 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 blood on the post. Blood on the post, 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 blood on the post.
We hold in post, chopping up doctrines that ain't coming close. They had up 2 strikes like I'm Warner Franco. We're Rochelle toast. Wisdom is better than silver and gold. This water is knocking down wicked Pharaoh. Can't swim through the sea, man, that fan was too slow. Pharaoh was sober-minded, think he came an angle. Escape on a starry night, Victor Van Gogh. Living good unchained like Quincy Django. Shoppers down in the hood, now they wanna tango. Death angels coming close, so watch your back, bro. Watch your back, bro. We gonna that lamb, we gon' eat that. That bread, bitter herb, we gon' eat that. Doing this till you how I come and see that. We that. Oh.
Blood on the post, 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 blood on the post. The Pesach and Nissan, we found faith in Misraim. We got to be strong. Walking through water, pray we don't sink. Strapped up, boots tight. Walking upright, boy, we don't lean. 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 Walking upright, we see that. Blood on the post. Blood on the post, blood on the post, blood on the post, Blood on the blood on the post, blood on the post, blood on the post. Blood on the blood on the post, blood on the post, blood on the post. Blood on the blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the blood on the post, blood on the post, blood on the post. Blood on the blood on the post, blood on the post, blood on the post.
Shalom, shalom, Israel, shalom, and welcome again to another Milk Monday. I am Officer Knock here with you today, and I'm also here with
Shalom, y'all. Captain on your all, the aristocrat.
We are the Anointed House of Saints. We want to thank you for joining us, as always, being dedicated and coming to the class to learn, to be edified. Before we get started, we want to first give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Mashiach Yahweh Shai. Again, we want to thank everyone for being here today. Today's class is going to be entitled, Combating the Negro Only Doctrine. We've addressed this a few times. I think Captain has some other things that he wants to bring out, maybe more in context. I know he has a plethora of precepts. So with that, while he gets that together, I want everyone to get out your notepads, get your Bible, get your KJV Bible, get your Apocrypha, get your concordances, get your markers. See what I'm saying? I even got mine. And so we can write these scriptures down. We can go back and study them because, as the scripture said, we have to study to show ourselves approved. And with this Negro-only doctrine, we want to have everything in full so we can combat this false doctrine that they bring out, right? Also, as always, I like to give out a few announcements. And I start that by saying, any brothers who want to put their brick in with the Anointed House of Saints, please do so by sending us an email at anointedhos@gmail.com. We will get that information back to you to let you know when the next prospect phase is going to begin. Also, sisters, we still have it going on. Sisters Corner, send an email if you want to be a part to put your brick in this congregation, anointedhos@gmail.com, and we will promptly respond when that is all set up and ready to go. All right. So with that, I want to go ahead and get these shout outs going so we can get class going, right? We got a nice amount of our people in here. And as always, we want to go ahead and give a hearty shalom to Sister Joan Gilchrist. Shalom to Diane Ban Zebulun. Shalom. Shalom to Soldier Zebulon Ban Yasharala. Shalom to Anariah, Sister Anariah. Shalom, sis. Shalom to John Allen. Shalom to Officer Boaz. Shalom. Shalom to Brother Nazar. Shalom to you, brother. Shalom to Brother Gary, be like ants. Soldier Gary, shalom to you, brother. Shalom to Akmasha. Shalom to Leah. Shalom, sis. Shalom to AHOS Nadiyab in Georgia. Shalom to you, brother. Good brother. Shalom to Officer Shemaiah in Texas. Shalom, brother. Shalom to Captain Yahawada. Captain Yahawada. Shalom. Shalom to Officer Kadar Aharon. Shalom to Captain Yakam Yah in the Carolinas, in the North Kakalaki. Shalom to WWOE, World Without End. Shalom to Officer Aharon Dawad in Atlanta. Shalom to you, Cap. Shalom to Yaquab, Israel. Shalom. Shalom to Barzayah. Shalom to you, brother. Good to see you. Always good to see you. Shalom to Princess Abaya. Shalom, sis. Also, shalom, a hearty shalom to my man DTA, Soldier DTA Twan, Soldier Nadab. Good to see you. Good to see you here. So with that, anyone who comes in who has not yet posted hearty shalom or hello, if you do post later or when you come into class, I will shout you out at the end of class. Also, I want to make notice that, we got something coming up. We have another feast day coming up. And already, we will be getting set up for the 2024 Anointed House of Saints Feast of Passover coming in April of 2024. So anyone who wants to be a part of that, guess what? We have a website. Not sure if it's all the way set up yet, but I'm going to give you the address so that you can go to it and find out where you can purchase tickets, which will be on the website, but it's going to be at anointedhouseofsaints.org. That's anointedhouseofsaints.org. Check that website out. If you want to be a part of the Feast of Passover 2024 and be with your brothers and sisters of Anointed House of Saints, please go to that website. If it's not set up yet, it will be set up within the next few days, I'm sure. So please check that out. But with that, I don't have anything else unless, Captain, you got something you want to bring before we start?
Nope. I'm gonna explain why we talking about this class today again. But that's it.
With that,
Ain't nothing to do with me.
well, without further ado, go ahead. It's all yours, Cap.
All right, well, shalom, y'all. Of course, we want to start by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. You know what I'm saying? Kala Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Today we're doing a class on combating the Negro only doctrine. Main reason why we're doing this again is because brothers in the camp asked for it, right? So I'm actually expecting brothers to be on the class.
That's right.
So I don't know why. You know what I'm saying? We had a lot of precepts and stuff like that from the other videos, but I guess because the topics were kind of conflated or whatever, because I was doing one video on Dan Calloway and another video on showing how the natives and Indians how they're Israelites and stuff like that. I guess brothers want to combat the Negro only doctrine. So first thing I'm gonna say is every video we've made talking about the Hispanics and Native Americans being Israelites, any information in those videos combats the Negro only doctrine. The Negro only doctrine is a doctrine that was created by a camp called FOP, and FOP believes that they're a camp that used to believe in the 12 tribes chart, by the way, right? They used to believe that Hispanics and natives were Israelites. Now apparently they still do, but it's the ones that look like me only, not the ones that look more light skinned with straighter hair or whatever it might be, right? So the thing I want to get into today is because I have some of those in my family, which is how I know they're Israelites too, because the product of that can still make me, right? So bottom line is there's a lot of precepts that we can get into to show these things, right? A lot of history we can get into to show these things, and we're kind of going to do a little bit of both today, right? The last video I did, we went over the book Lost Tribes and Promised Lands, right? We showed you guys how you could get that on a free PDF on the internet and everything like that. Today we have A Star in the West, right? I'll still give you guys the page numbers and everything like that for the pages in Lost Tribes and Promised Lands that you'll need if you haven't got that book yet and marked it down. So you'll still be able to get those page numbers, but I'm not going to read those pages today, right? You can go and look at that stuff on the PDF or buy the book yourself or whatever, right? And before we do that, just side note, sidebar, right? What I've realized with these PDFs, they're showing really old versions of the book. These books were made in like the 16, 17, 1800s, right? So what I've realized is there's things in these PDFs that aren't in the actual hard copies of the books that we have now in the 2000s, right? So it's beneficial to read those PDF versions that you find on the internet for free as well, because they have extra information in them that Esau has tried to take from these newly published versions of the book, right? So that was the first thing I want to say. So there might be pages when you look up the actual PDF that I'll give you from the hard copy of the book, and the pages don't match up. You'll have to read on a couple more pages because there's pages in the PDF version that don't exist anymore in the real hard copies that we have today that they're selling on the shelves, right? So that's the first thing I want to put out there. But we're going to show some books and some articles on how Hispanics and natives were in captivity together with their brethren, the so-called blacks, African Americans and stuff like that, right? Which would prove that, these people are indeed Israelites, which would prove the prophecy of Jeremiah 50 and 33 and a bunch of other prophecies, right? So the main thing that I want you guys to understand when combating the so-called Negro-only doctrine is it's best to use the Bible, right? And the thing that the Bible says should be what you use to prove the Israelites, which would be the curses, right? The curses is the main thing we have in the Bible to prove who is an Israelite and who is not an Israelite. Am I right, Knock?
Yes.
The curses should be what we use to determine who is a brew and who is not a brew. Because even in the Bible, it says this is what you will use to, like it's going to be a sign and a wonder, right? So you should be able to look upon these things and realize, oh, based on who's going through this, these are the Israelites. So the first plan of action we're going to go into today is going through the Deuteronomy 28, right? Not going to go through every single curse because that would mean we got to go through all 68 of them. But we're going to go through a lot of them that off the top of your head, just reading it, especially regular Americans and Hispanics with normal history knowledge, right? The things they teach you in school. Most people wouldn't think that a lot of the curses in Deuteronomy 28 that we're going to go over happened to so-called African Americans, at least in America, right? So we're going to get that first. Then we're going to get a star in the West to prove what historians have been saying. And by the way, let me see when this book was made. 1816 was when this book was first published, right? So this is a book first published when we were in captivity. Right. If it's first published in captivity and it's historical book, that means that he had to start getting his historical references and stuff like that from before 1816. So this is a deep history book from our slave captivity in America, right? It's from a time period when Hispanics and natives are in captivity here. Because late 1700s, early 1800s, both of us are in captivity, right? There's a couple of natives that have their own plantations and stuff like that. That would be reservations at this point, right? Where so-called black people are they're able to run away and stuff like that and live amongst the natives. But there's also a large amount of them in certain places in the country that are still actually in shackle and chain slavery with real so-called African Americans, right? So this is a book that it's going over traditions from the Native Americans and Hispanics from when before they were captured and during their captivity, right? And since they've moved on, right? Certain traditions that they kept, they're actually marking these things down based on how they dress, certain feast days and holidays that they kept, right? Before the white man interfered with their lifestyle and stuff, and all these things. They're documented in this particular book and a couple of other books out there, right? That we've read in the past in other videos. But just for the sake of this, right? Just to give you guys some quick things that you could bring out to combat the Negro only doctrine. This is going to be something that you're going to want to use, right? So I advise everybody to get this book and also Lost Tribes and Promised Lands. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this thing. So Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 18.
God.
And something else, right? I guess before we get into that, I'm going to bring this up again later, but I want to show something because languages will tell the people, right? Now, Uto-Aztecan language is the language that my tribal group of people speak, right? And the people that come from my tribe and are connected to my tribe and interfered with my tribe, interacted with my tribe, we were Uto-Aztecan language speaking people, right? And it tells you that this is like a language with the Semitic origin, right? The Semitic KW. So it says it's a contribution to Uto-Aztecan, which suggests remnants of Hebrew dialect influenced on the Uto-Aztecan language. A KW dialect, right? From a Phoenician-like dialect. And if you remember any of our past videos, we've gone over Hebrew, Paleo-Hebrew, right? It's a Phoenician language. It's from the same language group as the Phoenicians, right? Or the Canaanite language, or even some aspects of the Comitian language, which would be the Egyptian language, right? So all of us were able to communicate with each other and speak to each other in the Levant region because we all spoke the same damn language, right? It would be Proto-Sinaitic as far as a Proto-Sinaitic Shemitic language, right? Some call it Old Canaanite, and we call it Paleo-Hebrew or Ancient Hebrew, right? So all of them would be correct, but that's basically what it is. It's all one language. That's why we were all able to speak with each other, similar to how certain Native American tribes will speak the same language within an area of the United States. It's the same way. So everybody in the Levant at some point spoke this Proto-Sinaitic Hebrew language, right? And they're saying it's a Phoenician dialect. They're also going to tell you it has some Hebrew in it, some Aramaic, and some Egyptian, because all of those come from the same region. It's all the same damn language. You understand what I'm saying? So that also constitutes to why people that don't know much about languages, they'll tell you things like it Israel, you know, y'all say amen, and y'all got Ra in y'all Hebrew language, and this, that, and the third. They don't realize that we use similar words. It doesn't mean that they mean the same thing, but we use similar words because we use similar, like the language is similar. It's from the same region. You understand what I'm saying? There's similar words in Arabic as there are in Hebrew and Aramaic. The words might not mean the same, but the words are still the same words. You understand what I'm saying? So that's the first point that I wanted to bring out, because language is going to be something you can always use to tell the people. And there's another big language that the Native Americans speak, Algonquin, right? Which is more so the language that the tribes around where I live now, Georgia, would speak, right? The Creek Indians, the Cherokee, Shawnee, right? All these type of people, their language descends from the Algonquin languages, right? And these languages also have evidence of a Hebrew origin. So I want to put that out there first. Now, let's get some of the curses of Deuteronomy 28. And then after the curses of Deuteronomy 28, we'll show these people going through the curses, right? From the people who put them in the curses, who also decided to write books about them and the stuff that they saw before and during them witnessing them within the curses, right? So Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15.
15. It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, starting at verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Right. So just like the so-called black people, so like Negroes, right? If these Hispanic and Native American people wouldn't follow these law, statutes, commandments, or anybody that was an Israelite, right? Certain curses would come upon them. And those certain curses we can find in this very book that we're reading, Deuteronomy chapter 28. So that means if we could prove that Hispanic and Native American people, no matter what their damn skin color is, went through these curses, right? And if they could prove via their family that they went through these curses, there's nothing that you can say to say that they're not an Israelite, because the curses is all you have to prove that that's who you are, right? None of us take a DNA test and it says 100% Israelite. Hell, none of it says Israelite. Y'all get African, you know, Igbo, Yoruba, Akan, you know what I'm saying? Cameroon. Like, that's the type of crap that you would get on a DNA test. None of it would say Israelite. None of it says Israeli, right? So we're going off of proof via history. We're going off of Deuteronomy chapter 28. We're going off of the spirit, right? Because it's our spirit that bear witness that we are the children of God, right? So if that's the case, and we're using those things, there's nothing you could say to deny them if they're using them same things to find out that they're the Israelites, right? So it's not like it's a Jewish man trying to say he goes through the curse of Deuteronomy 28 and we could prove that he can't. We're about to prove that they went through everything that, you know, so-called black people went through to constitute and, you know, to make the claim that they are the Israelites. So let's go to verse 18.
Come, it's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 18. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy land, the increase of thy kine, and the flocks of thy sheep.
Now, here's something I want to point out, right? In the Southern Kingdom, this was definitely a curse, but not in recent time for the most part, right? Did most black people in America have land knock during captivity? Do most black people in America own land right now? Okay. What about in Africa? Did most black people in America own the land that they were living in? Was it theirs?
You mean in Africa?
Yeah. Okay, that's smart. I'm glad you said that, right? See, some of these Negro-only people would probably think that in West Africa, we were all living on our land, which would mean the first question would be, if it was ours, how the hell did we get sold off our stuff? Right? Wasn't like the enemy went there and the white man went and conquered all of Africa and then sold us off like he did America. Nah. So for us to be sold by Hamites, wouldn't it mean that the Hamites had to be in some type of control to be able to sell us? So that means you were already living amongst an enemy in West Africa. That wasn't your land. So this still wouldn't constitute to the majority of so-called the West Africans that were brought to the Americas, because they were sold by the people that owned the land. That's how they were able to sell you. Understand? So when did this curse happen to the Southern Kingdom people? In recent time. Right? These curses are cyclical. The judgment of the Most High is like a ring, and we're the people going through his judgment right now, right? So it happens a bunch of times throughout history. So it happened to the Southern Kingdom when they owned Israel, right? In 70 AD, when the land got ransacked. This is when all this stuff happened to you guys, for the most part. Yes, it also happened in West Africa as well, but not to the vast majority of you. Yes, it's happened in America, because there were some black people that owned slave plantations, right? There were some that were given slave plantations, like the Israelites of Israel Hill in Virginia, right? That was also taken from them after the fact. But that, again, wasn't the majority of the people. This is supposed to happen to damn near all of us, right? These curses. We're supposed to be able to pick ourselves from these curses. Damn near all of us, right? That claim to be Israelites. So Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 18, we can see, if you know anything about the history of so-called African Americans, didn't happen to the majority of you guys in recent time. So who could this be talking about for now? It would be the Hispanic and Native Americans. In this land that we live in right now, they're the ones that had their land taken, right? Read that curse again, Deuteronomy 18.
Come on, this is Deuteronomy 28 and 18 again. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy land, the increase of thy kine, and the flocks of thy sheep.
Yeah. So wasn't many black people that ever had any sheep or cattle here in America. There still isn't many black people that have sheep or cattle here in America. When did this happen to you guys in recent time? Wasn't many of y'all that had that stuff in West Africa either. The people that had that land still own it. They're the ones that sold you off of it. Duh. Right? So that's the point I'm trying to make. There's a lot of these curses in Deuteronomy that didn't happen to the Southern Kingdom people in recent time. And Southern Kingdom people read the curses and realize that, but still, the Negro only at least, they still deny the people that it did happen to in the land that they're living in right now, that the Most High sent them to be captive in, right? If the history has always been that the so-called black people came here as slaves, when did you guys have any cattle and land? If you came here as cattle to work on the land, doesn't make any sense. So this has to be talking about somebody else, right? Your brothers on the land that were also serving captivity with you, right? So this happened just not recently to the majority. Let's go to verse 21. Actually, go to 19.
God. Verse 19. Cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out.
This happened to all of us, right? Any place that you went into during the time of slavery, right? You were cursed. There's places in the Americas where so-called blacks and Hispanics and Native Americans were all labeled nigger during Jim Crow, right? In the Jim Crow states. So we all went through the same thing. Just like y'all couldn't walk up the street and look a white man in the eye, they couldn't do the same thing either. They would get hung, right? Same thing. So it's still a curse. There's a movie me and my pops was watching recently. It was called Killers of the Flower Moon. You heard of that, Knock?
No, I never heard of that one.
It's a good movie. It's a book that they made off of it.
Oh, wait a minute. That's a recent movie that just came out.
Yeah, it came out recently.
Yeah, about the Native. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Okay, gotcha.
There's a book that it was made from, right? And it's a true story. It's on the Osage Nation, right? And they actually found oil after slavery. So while they're living in the land and stuff like that, they find oil on the reservation that they were reserved to in Oklahoma, right? Already brought over there. The civilized tribes already exist and stuff like that, right? And on the land that they were subjected to, they find oil one day, burying a baby, right? So they become the richest people per capita on the planet at this time, right? Because America hadn't exploited Venezuela for their oil, haven't exploited the Middle East for their oil yet. So they're just using minimal oil and stuff like that. They're third world countries at the time, right? America is the top dogs. So the main place that has the oil that's running everything is going to be Britain, where they're getting their oil from, which is Saudi Arabia and stuff, and then the Americas, which is getting their oil from America, right? And now the richest people that have found the most oil in America at the time, at this time period, was the Osage Nation. And in this movie, it shows how these white people started getting with the Osage Nation. They start moving there, right? They're actually working for them. So they're the low class people at the time. The Osage got chauffeurs. They're wearing suits and ties, taking pictures, like the picture I showed you on my family, right? The boys got on suits and stuff. The white folks are asking them to take pictures and pay them money and stuff because they're lowly people at the time. They're like us, asking for work on the side of the road and stuff, right? And they're the chauffeur drivers, and they basically created a crafty council. All the chauffeurs and the white people in the community, they created a crafty council to start killing the people off and taking their land and marrying the daughters so that once they die, once the fathers die and stuff like that, or whoever has the land rights die, the rights automatically pass to the white person in the family, who then could remarry to a white woman, and now they're the people that own the oil field. Now, when you look up the family history, or when you look up who owns the oil fields and stuff like that, it looks like it never belonged to any Native American people, right?
Right.
But if you were to ask those white people, they'll tell you, yeah, I got a Native American grandma. I'm a family. The Native American grandma was somebody that their poor grandfather married, right? And he took her land. And it was something that my pops realized in the movie, right? The families that had the oil, they wore fringes. Once the white man married one of their daughters, the daughter had to take the fringes off. So when she takes the family picture, she don't have the fringes on no more. Right? And all the people they were killing with the oil had fringes. Once they take over the family, the fringes come off. Nobody's wearing them anymore. Now they start dressing like white people. So it's a real spiritual movie. I think I should go watch it. You know what I mean? But point is, it's a movie that literally goes over curses that happen in Deuteronomy when it comes to the land being taken here in America. Certain curses that didn't happen to so-called black people here in America because y'all didn't own any land, right? So we have to put that into perspective. Yes, there were some. Yeah, there were some slave masters. Yeah, there were some people that owned land. Yeah, there were some people that were given land. But the vast majority of so-called African Americans in the Americas didn't fit this curse. Still don't to this day, right now. Y'all fit it from a while ago, right? Because none of y'all own land or cattle. Some of you don't even know how to take care of a cow or a horse or anything like that because you've never been around livestock, right? That's because these curses haven't hit some of our people in these times, right? But Native Americans and Hispanics being the people that lost this land, this did happen to them. Let's go to verse 21.
On verse 21 of Deuteronomy 28. Salakia. Good. Precept. Deuteronomy 28 and 21. The Lord shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee until he have consumed thee from off the land whither thou goest to possess it.
Right. Now we know about the what's that disease? The blankets that smallpox, right? The smallpox blankets and stuff, right? And other diseases that they put out there. Because certain common colds that we have now, it's common now, but it wasn't something that was common back then for the natives, right? They didn't get sick. That's why they could stand outside in the cold with no shirt on and they wouldn't catch pneumonia because their immune system was built up to do those type of things. Wasn't no pneumonia here, right? So once it becomes a cold, when somebody that has it brings it over here and it gets transmitted to people, right? Now the virus can move around in this area. That's how it works, just like COVID, right? They told you it wasn't here. Then all of a sudden, once it got here, now everybody dying from it. That's how it goes.
Right.
And if it's a new virus that everybody's not used to, it could kill people rapidly because your body's not immune to it, right? Your immune system hasn't built up anything to make you immune to that disease because it's never seen it before.
Right.
So that's why smallpox was able to kill them so fast. That's why the common cold was able to kill him so fast. Pneumonia killed him so fast. My grandfather died from pneumonia. Right? He went outside to shovel snow with his shirt off like he usually does with cancer. Right? He survived cancer for 30 years, but pneumonia took him out. Because the immune system ain't built for that. So that's how it goes. But so like the thing we gotta understand is, especially with certain curses, right? Especially the ones we're gonna read today. A lot of these things, they're not subject to the Southern Kingdom at this time, which is what I want you guys to realize about the ones we're about to read, right? And yeah, a lot of them things mutate. A lot of the viruses and stuff like that, they'll do that.
That's right.
So, but keep reading. Read all the way to 26. I'm gonna stop you a couple times, but stay over there and read 26.
Verse 22. The Lord shall smite thee with a consumption and with a fever, and with an inflammation, and with an extreme burning, and with
these are other pestilences, right, that they were given, as I was saying before, right? So once they get sick and they get these pestilences, it mutates, like the brother Shemaiah said, and then it puts you in a situation where now everybody's getting sick and they can't stop it. The medicine man don't have no medicine. Now he has to find different medicines and cures to make this thing, stop spreading to everybody. And that takes time. It's not 2024, right? Where they could put some things under a microscope and see if it worked real fast and do a bunch of trials in an hour and a half, right? He has to do trials with people. So he has to give them things to see if it's going to work, which means they have to take a day or two or whatever the hell it is to see if the medicine actually worked for him. If it did work, cool. I found something that worked. If it didn't work, now I got to find something else that works. Within that time period, more people are getting sick and they dying, right? Mm-hmm. That's how everybody ended up dying off of the land, because it's only 1 or 2 medicine men per capita per the people in the tribe, right? He make a little bit of medicine. He teach everybody how to make the medicine so that when you get sick, you know how to make the medicine yourself. It wasn't like everybody gets sick and they go see the doctor. The doctor have the little meeting. They have the powwow. He teach everybody during the medicine powwow how to do it. They have the medicine ceremony. He teach them how to do the little new medicine thing, whatever disease it is that he's trying to cure. He teach everybody how to make the medicine for it, and then they could do it themselves. They don't have to come see him every time, right? You only go see the medicine man if it's something crazy, or he come see you. He do the little thing he do, you know what I'm saying, for whatever the disease was that you had or whatever sickness you had. He give it to you, the medicine for it, and then he leave, right? So it's not like how the doctors was today, or how we would go to the doctor today, where you got your own physician and all that type of stuff, and he could take certain amount of care for you, and he got your patient file and all that crap. Wasn't like that. So, if one of them got sick, it was easy for the rest of them to get sick. And the white man knew that and realized that, him being a cunning hunter, and was able to take him out. But this also was a curse, so it wasn't like they was going to be able to stop it anyway. Keep reading.
Continuing with verse 22. And with the sword, and with blasting, and with mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish.
Mm-hmm. That's right. You see what I'm saying? So all these different things are going to pursue them until they perish. All these things they've never seen before. Wasn't no mildew. Wasn't no mold on the walls from paint. What we was painting to put on the walls. You know what I'm saying? And back then they're using lead paint and stuff like that. So it's different, right? It mold and stuff like that can easily catch on to that stuff. That's why they would get moldy diseases and stuff like that, gangrene, all that type of stuff from the ships that they were on. Because when they painted with the stain stuff that they had to make the ship look a certain way, right? It's not mold resistant. So while they out there on the water, the whole damn ship is getting molded. So they're bringing these diseases and stuff like that just from the mold that they've been breathing in for this last 6 months or however long it took for them to be on the ship, right? They hop off the ship and then they spreading that junk to everybody on the land. So it was strategic the way they did this thing. But go ahead.
Verse 23. And thy heaven that is over thy head shall be brass. And the earth is Salaki, and the earth that is under thee shall be iron.
Yeah, and the way I look at this is like, the brassness over your head at the time would be like a shield, the gun always being pointed at you. Always got that enemy over your head, right? And his weapons of warfare to scare you from doing whatever it is that's right into what he wants you to do. Under you is that concrete jungle. You ever seen him make concrete before? They pour the concrete in between what? Iron stakes. So that's iron underneath your feet, right? Keep reading.
God. Verse 24. The Lord shall make the rain of thy land powder and dust. From heaven shall it come down upon thee until thou be destroyed.
What's something that everybody was talking about during COVID with airplanes and stuff like that? The chemtrail planes, right?
That's right.
Were they dropping chemtrails in West Africa in the 1500s? No. Well, no airplanes to drop no chemtrails back then. So where would this be talking about? Was the pollution bad enough back then for the rain to be turned into dust and, things that could pollute the soil and pollute the plants? There's some things that happen in Egypt like that, right? But here in spiritual Egypt, the Most High's been making it happen for a couple years now, hadn't he? With airplanes. Who's the people that own the land now? Is it many so-called black people that own the land in America? Or is it still natives and Hispanics that own land here? That's actually one of the arguments from folk, right? These niggas still got land and businesses. How are they Israelites? We supposed to be poor, meek, lowly people. Well, the second curse in Deuteronomy 28, verse 16 says, curse shall be thy store, right? And so somebody got to have a store. Somebody got to own something to fit that curse, right? That's what I'm saying. So there's certain curses that apply to certain tribes, I guess, right now. And it's not applying to majority of certain tribes right now. But it did apply to them back in the day. And certain tribes didn't apply to the other people back then. Because when the Northern Kingdom was in Assyria, what did they own? Were they the ones owning the cattle, or were they the cattle themselves? Right? So that was the flip side of that situation. When they were in Assyria, the Southern Kingdom was going through the curses that involved them owning stuff and losing the stuff that they owned. Right? When they got moved back to Babylon and they're living amongst Cyrus and the Persians and Medes, best believe that the Persians and Medes was taking their land too. Don't think it wasn't happening like that just because he let them build the temple. That's when they're going through those curses. This time around, it was the Northern Kingdom going through those curses. And the other curses, like the ones in, 2868, those hit both sides. But for the most part, that was the Southern Kingdom, right? We know that based off of how the Northern Kingdom got to America, the majority of them hit that curse just coming from Assyria. A few of them still hit it here in America, right? But the vast majority of them stayed in this land. That's how it works. Cyclical curses. Keep going.
God. Verse 25. The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them and flee 7 ways before them.
I don't think you got to explain that. Go ahead and shout what?
And shalt be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth.
Yeah. And we're going to get some precepts today from some books, some historical extra biblical sources that prove that there were Native Americans and Hispanics that were put on ships, right? And taken to other places on the earth other than the Americas and the Caribbean, right? So go ahead.
Verse 26. And thy carcass shall be meat unto all fowls of the air.
Rob wants us to prove every race of the tribes is in the Bible. Well, today we're going to prove every race of the Hispanics and Native Americans is in the Bible. We've done the Southern Kingdom before. It's a video called Milk Monday. Are the blacks in America Egyptians or Israelites? Right? You could go watch that to find out if his so-called African Americans and Haitians, Jamaicans, Trinidadians, all them people is Israelites. Right? This class is going to be on Hispanic and Native Americans. Rob Barnhill. Go ahead.
Verse 26. And thy carcass shall be meat unto all the fowls of the air and unto the beasts of the earth.
Yep. So, for example, right, for Thanksgiving, that's a feast that y'all just celebrated, right? So, when let's say my tribe, for example, when the Comanche would go out there and they would kill a so-called white man and stuff his mouth with bread, and then the white man get mad and they go take out the Comanche tribes, they leave all their bodies on the ground, cut their heads off, stuff them with bread. What's the bread going to do? It's going to attract birds, fowls, right? It's going to attract bugs, all type of different things. Other animals, coyotes, wolves, right? Foxes. So different things gonna come and they're gonna feast on the bodies, right? Left them out there, dead carcasses. They hit this curse, right? The birds come first though, because of the bread. So yeah, it's especially you know, a symbol of the things that happen during Thanksgiving, if you know anything about that, right? So jump to verse 30. Not
Con. Verse 30. Thou
now, I don't
shalt,
know who Pastor Ray Haggins is. I don't think.
Pastor who?
Ray Haggins? You heard of
Ray,
him?
yeah, I know who he is. Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah. Anyway. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 30. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her.
Mm-hmm.
Thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, Killers of the Flower Moon, right? It's called Killers of the Flower Moon because the Osage Nation lived on a reservation in the Plainlands, right? Where they had these special flowers. I forget what the flowers were called, but when the sun hit them just right, it looked like, you know, a bunch of moons on the ground and stuff like that. So like a bunch of flower moons or whatever, right? When the moon hit it just right or when the sun hit it just right and stuff like that. So like that's why they called it the Flower Moon Land, right? So when they say Killers of the Flower Moon, they're talking about the people that killed them to take the land of the Flower Moon, right? And that land had oil on it. Those are the people that they killed. So this again, and like I said, in the process of them killing those people, they would take their daughters because the daughters, once the sons die and the father's dead, right? Who owns the land now? The mom. Mom gets old, she dies. Who owns the land now? The daughter. So if the white man wants access to the land, what's he gonna do? Get in cool with the daughter. And unfortunately, a lot of these sisters fell in love with the white man. So they end up giving them the land, right? Had kids with them, and then the white man ended up killing the mamas. Right? Have one kid with her, kill the mom, and then raise the kid like a white kid with his new white wife and have more white kids with her. And then they end up being the ones that inherit the land. The native kid, you know, gets whatever. So that's how it worked. That's how it used to be. And, you know, it's part of the curses. Read the verse 34.
2 verse 34 or 34?
Yeah. Read to verse 34.
Con, I'll start with 30 again. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shalt not gather the grapes thereof. Verse 31. Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes.
Thy ox shall be slain before thine eyes, right? So there's be situations where we'll have our own creatures and stuff like that, and they end up killing us, right? They end up killing the creature, they end up killing our things, and it's our money maker. So this, to stop our money from being made, right? They'll just come and take the money from you, right? If you're in competition with them, don't let the white man find out, oh, you live right down the street and he's the one selling all the damn cows to everybody. The local market is taking his cows instead of mine, huh? Okay, we got something for him then. They'll go in the middle of the night, put a little sack mask on, cut some eyes in the holes in it, right? Cut some holes in the eyes, in the nose and stuff. And then they go out there and they rob you, kill your stuff, kill your cattle, right? So that's the way they used to do it. Keep going.
Con. Verse 31. Thine ox. That's something here. Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof.
Look at that.
I did.
That's a bunch of bison skulls, right? Yeah.
Con. That's crazy.
Do y'all know what the favorite food of the Native Americans was? Some of you niggas never even had bison. Because they damn near gone. You can't find them no more. That's why. Look at that.
That's crazy. That's a crazy amount of cattle. That's crazy.
It looked like what they fed Godzilla.
Right.
Go ahead.
Con, thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof. thine ass shall be violently taken away from before thy face.
Yeah. So they take away your cattle, they take away your food source and your money maker. Now you've got the ass, which is helping you graze the land, which is helping you grow your food and everything like that, right? He's your working animal. They're gonna take that thing from you. Go ahead.
Con, thine ass shall be violently taken away from before thy face, and shall not be restored to thee.
Yeah, and it ain't gonna be given back. When did that happen to so-called black people? Did y'all have asses and donkeys when y'all got here? Or did they use y'all as the asses and donkeys?
Right.
Right? In order to use the natives as the asses and donkeys, they had to take the asses and donkeys from them. Speaking of which, here, hold on. Let me show this right quick. Yeah, you go ahead and keep reading. Read the next verse.
Con, thine ass shall be violently taken away from before thy face, and shall not be restored to thee. Thy sheep shall be given unto thine enemies, and thou shalt have none to rescue them.
You see that? Shall be given into thy enemies. How? It ain't just because they're giving it to them. It's a strategic thing. White man gonna get with your daughter, and your daughter is gonna give him everything that you had. Right? We see it happening today with the black dudes. All these interracial relationships that they're showing. Hell, it's happening with Hispanics and Native Americans too. But what's the main thing they're showing on TV now? Every damn commercial, it's a black woman with a white man. Right? Because now, black people, African Americans, they're the ones rising up in America now, right? The lions are getting a little bit of bread now. They're starting to own things, buying stuff, right? Earning your leisure, teaching everybody how to make money and stuff like that, right? Him 500 teaching you how to rob the banks and stuff. So it's like it's situations where now we getting money, we putting ourselves in situations where we can own things, and they're trying to put the women, right? Black women are the ones mainly getting the money out here, right? For the most part, they're the ones got the high paying jobs and everything like that. So they're securing the bag and keeping the bag within the community. What's the white man trying to do? He's trying to get in their minds, right? And basically mentally manipulate them into thinking that the white man is attractive based on what he's programming them with on their televisions and stuff. So they're making sure that they put these, commercials with all the white folks and the interracial relationships with the black women, right? It's the same thing they did in these type situations. And I want to show you guys, because it was the thing that they did. They found out this marketing technique worked back during the early 1900s when the Native Americans were in control. Some of them still, right? When they first start getting these reservations and they start building casinos and all this type of stuff, right? And we see these natives getting money. How did these white people get in control of it? How did these white folks start moving in, becoming $5 Indians for real? A lot of y'all think it was because of the land rights and stuff like that they were given to the civilized tribes and stuff, and the white people were able to pay the $5 and stuff like that. That wasn't the majority of them and how they got in. Most of them got in the way they tell you. They got a Native American grandmother. Right? How did that happen? Well, let me show you this so y'all can see. This is a trailer from Killers of the Flower Moon. Fair use.
Cat.
Huh?
Blow it up. Blow it up.
Yeah, I am. I'm about to.
Come.
This is when they. So look, you see how the white boy's dressed? He gets off the train, right? I think this is actually taking place in Virginia, not Oklahoma. But just watch how the white folks are compared to the natives, and as far as their state, the way they dressed, how they carry themselves, all that type of stuff, right? And then you're gonna see this is the way the white folks carry themselves now. So a lot of them, of course, they were the rich people and the high class folks for the majority in America at this time, but in this particular area, it was the natives until these folks took over. And the way they took over was by getting with the daughters of the Native American men that owned the land, killing off the men, and then getting with their daughters and marrying the daughters in order to take the rights, and then killing the daughters so that they wouldn't have to worry about them trying to take the land back.
The Osage took their name from Missouri and Osage rivers. Niukanska. Children.
If you saw, hold on.
Niukanska.
You see the fringes, right? On their ponchos and everything like that. Once these women start getting with these white men, you're going to see them start taking pictures and the fringes are gone. They're no longer going to be on their garments, as if you're not allowed to wear it once you don't marry into the tribe anymore. Once you marry a heathen, you got to put the fringes down, right?
Children.
And she's being chauffeured by the white guy because at this time period, right? Yeah, you had some high class white people because, of course, this is America. This is their country, right? At this time. But these natives weren't they were able to basically move up in the high class society, kind of like how black people did automatically in the Black Wall Street situation, right? In Oklahoma. Ironically, this is damn near the same area, right? Because this happened in Oklahoma with the Osage too. So this is the Osage people, Native Americans, and then we had Black Wall Street for the black people, right? The black folks in Black Wall Street that owned the businesses, they lived exactly like these natives did here, right? They had the chauffeurs, they had the butlers, they had the nice houses, they had all the land, all that stuff, right? And the white people that lived there worked for them, just as this white man works for her, right? So,
Of the middle waters. Move, said the great white father.
Move, said the great white father, right? So the old white guy that you just saw, I'm gonna give away the movie, I don't care. So the old white guy that you just saw, right? He's the uncle of this white boy. He told him, we're taking the land, you got to get with one of the girls. You got to marry one of the daughters. And that's what he did. So he gets in cool with the woman he's chauffeuring, right?
Many. So many hungry wolves.
Hungry wolves. Who are the hungry wolves? These white boys, right? So now once he gets with her, look at how he dresses now. Now he gets to wear a suit. He gets to wear a tie. He's dressing like he's got some bread because he's automatically tied to the money her family has coming in once he married her, right? And she don't get to wear the fringes no more. But she gets to walk around and she gets to see all the hungry wolves. They look at her like a piece of meat because that's what she was. She's got the money, right?
Can you find the wolves in this picture?
Oh yeah, just to show you guys, right? But it's a good movie. I think I should watch it. But this movie itself, right? It actually goes over a lot of the curses that we're about to go over, right? And a lot of the ones that we've already gone over, you will see in just that movie by itself, right? And that's just one tribe, just one. So yeah, y'all can find it on Netflix. You can find it on that's where I watched it, Netflix. No, was it Netflix? I'm lying. I saw it on the Kodi, the Fire Stick. Yeah, you can watch it on YouTube too, though. If you got the YouTube Premium, like I do, you could pay for it and you'll be able to watch it on there. Shalom, everybody coming in the building. Y'all hit the like button when y'all come in if you haven't already. Knock, what chapter? What verse you on?
On verse 32.
32. All right, keep reading.
All right. This is
the movie's name was Killers of the Flower Moon. There's also a book if you don't like movies. The book is better. It got more of the facts in it.
Of course, that's how it always is. The movie never gives justice to the book. All right, Khan. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and at verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hand. The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up.
What did we just see? Right? Just that movie alone shows you how those people came in a bunch of diverse ways. Taking the oil from the Osage Nation is just one of the ways, right?
Right.
A couple of the people. If you watch the show Frontier on Netflix, right, with Jason Momoa, that is a movie that shows you how they took out the natives during the fur trade. That's how they killed them with the smallpox blankets and stuff, right? There you get to see how the British people came up, how the Irish people first came up in America, right? How the Canadians came up in America. All off of the Native Americans in the fur trade, right?
That's right.
How the Italians end up getting their fur to be selling it to Dapper Dan to make the nice coats for the, Supreme Team and Cameron and all of them niggas, right? Like the way that happens is because of the Italians getting control of the fur trade from killing the natives up in New York. That you can watch in the movie or series Frontier if you want a visual representation of that, right? That's for free on Netflix, so y'all could go watch that as well. Tells you that story. So, you on 34?
Let me continue with verse 33.
That's cool. Read that.
This is verse 33. The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed alway.
Yeah, and if you look at the Native Americans and Hispanics right now, right, they're oppressed. They're put on a reservation where they're drinking themselves to death, right? They got gangs and all that type of stuff on the reservation.
God.
So niggas is gang banging on street corners. At least it's around other people, right? You got Asians there, it's a couple of Arabs, white folks up the street, right? But on the reservation, it's just Native Americans. And it's Bloods, Crips, and Latin Kings on the reservation, killing each other. They literal cousins, right? You know how in Chicago, people be tripping because it's like, damn, y'all daddies was cousin. You grew up on, Inglewood, and you grew up on 63rd, and y'all niggas enemies. What the hell? Y'all got the same grandma. These niggas grew up next door to each other.
Right.
On the reservation. Same strip of land, right? Same mama, same daddy. One's a Crip, one's a Blood, and they didn't kill each other. That's how it's going on the reservations right now, right? So, the curses. Keep going.
Con, verse 33. Salakia, verse 34. So that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes, which thou shalt see.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord shall smite thee in the knees and in the legs.
Oh, no, that's it. That's it.
That's
so,
it?
Yeah, you get mad. Jump to verse 37. I get mad, right? Especially when Negro only people try to say that if folks going through these curses, that a lot of them not going through because they don't own land to go through these curses, right? Who the hell else would this be talking to? Right? It's got to be people in the land that you're in because you call yourself an Israelite, right? You from the tribe of Judah, right? You don't own no land. Your uncle don't own no land. Your grandma don't own no land. So who from your people is going through this curse? You got to tell me, right? Salakia, y'all, for the delay on my screen. I don't know why I be doing that. StreamYard don't like me on Mondays. But jump to verse 37. Read that.
Verse 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations.
Hey, look, Nazar said he live on the res, right? And he see graffiti in the middle of nowhere. So they be tagging up the res. You know what I'm saying? What that sound like? Negro only people probably didn't know natives even know how to tag anything. Probably didn't know we knew what tagging was. Right? But it's all over the place. They do the same thing niggas do. Act just like them. They sell drugs. They gangbang. Sag their pants. Carry guns. They don't walk around with bow and arrows. They carry guns. Knives. You know what I'm saying? Sell crack, cocaine, heroin, pills. They rap. scream yeet yeet, all type of crap, right? We act just like niggas. So we go through the same things, same curses. They get killed by the police. They get harassed by the police on reservations too.
Yep.
Right? You just didn't know that because you haven't tried to do any research. You ain't asked none of them. You ain't never go drive to a res and find out. You know, you never did it. So it is what it is. Jump to verse 41.
Come on, verse
I'm gonna hide
41.
myself for a minute because
Yeah.
I'm tired of that happening. But go ahead.
Come on, verse 41. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity.
Yeah. So you'll beget sons and daughters. You won't enjoy them. They're gonna go into captivity, right? Yes, we know this happened to the so-called black people too during slavery, right? Is this happening to y'all now? Not the majority of you. But you know, the majority of the so-called Issacharite nation, Aztecs, when they come into America, automatically their kids get put in a cage and separated from them. Did y'all know that?
Slack it, Kevin.
Yeah, go ahead.
I got a question. Would this be, let's think of this though, right? So we know that the native and indigenous people of America, right? When it says here that thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. Would you consider, or I should say, I ask everyone that, well, maybe some of the audience doesn't know this. I'm sure Nazar knows about this. What were the boarding schools that happened of the indigenous sons and daughters going into boarding schools? Would that be a form of captivity? Is what I'm bringing out.
If you know anything about them,
right?
Yeah,
right, exactly. Remember, when they went to those boarding schools, they cut their hair, they dressed them as the white man. Yeah, you know, they didn't see their mother and fathers anymore. So, just
some of them changed their name.
Yeah, changed their names. Right.
They went in there Johnny Yellowfoot and came out Marcus Bon Jovi McIntyre. Right? And he married a white girl. Don't even know his parents no more. Never went back to the reservation. Right? So it's like, it's them type of situations that happen too, where some of them guys was native and they don't even know they native no more. Married a white woman, got kids look white, and the kid think he's European. Right? His granddaddy's still on a reservation right now. Don't even know who he is. So, you know, it said adoption started with the so-called natives taking the children by force. I'm confused.
Yeah, I am too.
Are you saying the natives were taking children by force, or the natives had their children taken by force?
Yeah, he needs to clarify on that. That doesn't.
Yeah, it's confusing how you wrote that. But all right, what verse you on?
I am. I went to verse 41. Did you want me to go to verse 43?
Oh
okay.
Yeah. 43.
It's the verse 43. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low.
He's right. Yep. So, and you know what the real Graham said kind of goes into what Knock just read, right? Read that again.
Come on, verse 43. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low.
Mm-hmm. So the stranger that's within you will get up very high, right? How will he get up very high? He'll kidnap you. He'll kill you. He'll take your land, right? Take your resources, kill your cattle, take your cattle, right? Do whatever you got to do. But he's going to get up above you. And as he moves his way up, you're going to be moving your way down until the roles are completely switched. Now the head is the tail and the tail is the head, right? Which is what it's going to say next. Go ahead.
Come on, verse 44. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him.
In the process of that, it's going to be situations where after he takes your stuff, he's going to try to lend to you, right? How about that? That's the ultimate slap in the face for natives and Hispanics, right? Yeah, for black people, it's a slap. You having to, you know, ask your slave master for money. But a native man, Hispanic, is having to ask the man that took his land to give him something from his land. You understand that? That's a slap in the face. Knock. That's like somebody run up in your house. They take your house, eminent domain, America, right? And then they tell you you got to pay to use your shower.
Right.
Right? You got to give me $12 to get your car keys to use the car.
Right.
Like that type of crap. You know what I'm saying? So it's BS. Keep going.
God, I wanted to read that what Nazar put there.
Said on the res, we're forced to adopt a bunch of Edomite orphans to bring their numbers up. Yeah, that's BS.
Yeah. That's wild.
What tribes live on the res you want, bro? He said blonde hair, blue eye, holding tight to their false belief of their yeah, it's crazy. I already know how that go.
Mm-hmm.
I know how that goes. Yeah. Blonde hair, blue eye, freckle face, ugly, pale face, skinny, degenerate looking mug. Talking about, yeah, man, you know, I'm Native American. Okay. Spokane. All right. That's what's up. We'll pin it. All right. Shout out to you, King. So, what verse?
Verse 45.
Read the 49.
God, this is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee till thou be destroyed. Because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
Yeah, man. So these things will be on you for a sign and a wonder, and upon your seed forever, right? Your brother said he Issachar, it's his wife's tribe. All right, well, shout out to both of y'all. You know what I'm saying? But King Gabar says some Issachar are slaves when they come to the U.S. and paid coyotes cartel debt. Yeah, that's facts too. They're slaves to them people, right? And a lot of the people that run the cartels, they don't be authentic, you know, Issacharites and authentic Asherites. Some of them are descendants of the, you know, Spaniards and stuff. So, you know, that's also something you got to take into account. A lot of the coyotes and everything like that run everything over there. Some of them, well, I'll say the coyotes for the most part are probably our people, but the cartel bosses, a lot of them aren't. So, and but yeah, go ahead.
God. Verse 46. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. Because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee.
That's right. You know what I'm saying? So that yoke of iron come upon your neck until you have destroyed thee. There's pictures you can look up where natives, Hispanics, you know what I'm saying, indigenous people of the Americas, all over the place, North, Central, and South America, and the Caribbean have yokes of iron on their neck, right? There's actually some curses we're gonna read when we finish reading this Deuteronomy that from a book that's gonna prove this. But go ahead.
Verse 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth.
Now, this is a big one. The reason I want to bring this out, right? Because, okay, when it comes to so-called African Americans, right? Y'all were taken from Africa, right? Is Africa on the other side of the earth from Europe? Are they right next door to each other? So this curse right here ain't even talking about y'all. Who this talking about? Right? We got to put that into perspective.
That's right.
Ain't no way you in America saying this ain't the Native Americans and Hispanic that this verse is talking about, because it wasn't y'all. Africa's right down the street. In the the Arab invasions, and in the expulsion of the Jews fled to Africa from Europe because it was right down the street. Right? That's how Guinea and all them other places got populated. Madagascar and all of them. Way down at the bottom. So it's like, those are things we got to understand. Africa and Europe aren't that far from each other. But Europe and the Americas, that's far. That's the other side of the earth. Right? As swift as the eagle fly. The eagle got to really fly to get there, right? So that's what happened. And the people that the eagle saw when he got there was the Hispanic and Native Americans. Right? That's the facts. Whether you like it, understand it, believe it or not. So this curse you have to constitute to somebody that is an African American. So it can't be a Negro only curse. This right here, right? This is for the Northern Kingdom. That's correct. So I ain't even gonna read 64 to 68 yet, because I want to bring that out when we get the curses. So let me get a star in the West. I was gonna pull this up on here. In fact, I'll do it just for these 2 pages or whatever. In fact, but it's gonna be hard for me to make it so y'all can see this though.
Actually, Kev, you can blow that up on that.
Yeah. Like I know I could blow it up, but I'm gonna be reading it on my book.
Oh,
because I see it better. So that means I'm gonna have to be moving this because y'all not gonna be able to see everything when I zoom it all in. You know what I'm saying?
You want me to? Let me see if I can pull it up.
Just Google a Star in the West PDF, and I'll try to tell you what page to go to. So the PDF version, y'all, is gonna be different than the actual book. Like I told y'all earlier, they've changed some of the stuff up, some of the page numbers and stuff. There's things that they added. Take myself off the screen because I'm tired of that delay. But I'm gonna read some things out of a Star in the West, just so y'all can see some similarities, right? And I'll give you guys page numbers. We're gonna start in the real book, page 49. On the PDF, it'll be page 85.
Okay.
Ain't that something? 49 in the book, hard copy, 85 on the PDF. That's how many pages from the original version are missing. So, yeah.
Oh, go back.
It means there's some pages they don't want y'all to read, right? Like that Hitler book. After Deshaun Jackson came out and told everybody that quote from Hitler was in that book that I bought, right? Now when you buy the book republished, it still got the old publishing date on it, but you could tell it's a new book, and they got the pages all mixed up and stuff like that. And they took that part out of it. It's not on the page number that it used to be on no more. So they've been trying to change some things based off the information that we put out. And this is just proof of that, right? It's page 85 on the real original version of the book, which this PDF is from 1816. But this 2020 version of the book, right? This this has a lot of pages missing because what we're about to read is only on page 49. So you on 85, you're gonna start at Faber supposes. So let me read it.
Yeah, right here.
Yep. Wow. Actually, go down to from a serious consideration. All right, bet. So I'm gonna read this. And if you could, real quick, while I'm reading it, could you get Isaiah chapter 3, verse 18 and hold that?
Yep.
So this is a Star in the West, chapter 49 in the hard copy, right? And page 85 on the PDF version. It says, from a serious consideration of all the foregoing circumstances, we seem naturally led to have recourse to the late discovered continent of America, which the first visitants found fulfilled with inhabitants, and though called savages or Indian, right, differed essentially from the savages ever known to the people of the old world before. So those people were savages or called savages. They seem to be different savages than any other savage we ever seen before. It says, in the first place, they resembled considerably in appearance the people of Oriental nations. So he's saying they look like Orientals, which for the most part, we know Columbus actually didn't say that, but we'll just take that from this book. It says Mr. Penn, who saw and communicated, let me see, who saw and communicated with them in a particular manner on his first arrival in America, while in their original uncontaminated state, before they were debased and ruined by their connection with those who called themselves civilized and Christians, was exceedingly struck with their appearance, right? So he's going to explain their appearance and stuff like that. But something I want to point out, like I did the last time we did a video like this, a lot of reason why they would look Oriental is because the Assyrians had Moabites and Ammonites within their people. And if we remember what we read from Lost Tribes and Promised Lands, Montezuma actually told us that a lot of the people got off the boats with them. So they were mixing with these people, not just in Assyria, but in the Americas, which is why so many of them would have that long, straight black hair like Assyrians do, or like Pakistani people do, or like Elamites do, because that's basically who was running the Assyrian nation at the time, right? So it's like, you know, that's the reason they would look like that. And if you know anything about East Indians, right, they would also be considered Oriental. They're Asian people, right? India is considered an Asian nation, for those of y'all that didn't know that. So, yeah. It says in one of his letters to his friends in England, he says, I found them with like continence to the Jewish race. So first they're Orientals, but now they're Jewish. Does he mean Jewish as in white people, or Jewish as in the people that they knew to be Jews in England at the time of slavery? We already did videos on that, remember? Knock?
That's right.
Who did they say back in the 16, 17, and 1800s the Jews look like?
Like us.
They look like Knock.
Yeah.
Right? So he's talking to a brother in England, and he says they look like the Jewish people, which means he's trying to say they look black. Right?
That's right.
He says, I found them with like continence to the Jewish race, and their children of so lively a resemblance to them, that a man would think himself in Duke's Place or Berry Street in London. Meaning, damn, I seen these people and I thought it was a bunch of niggas. I thought I was back in London. Right? Okay. And who else is from England, Berry Street, London? He's a king named James. Right? And what color was James? Black. Right? So this dude said he looked like he's seen a bunch of Stuarts, right?
Right.
A bunch of black people in England when he's seen the Native Americans, right?
Right.
So he says, Berry Street in London, when he seeth them. And that's from, you can read that in Penn's work, the 2nd Division, volume 704. That's from the year 1682. Wasn't that many white people that was Jewish in 1682. They just expelled us, right? King James was killed like 40 years, 50 years before that. Right? The last known relative of King James was still known as a prince in 1682. Prince James. Right? His grandson, one of them. So said they wore earrings and nose jewels, bracelets on their arms and legs, rings on their fingers, necklaces made of highly polished shells found in the rivers and on their coats. Their females tied up their hair behind, worked hands round their heads, meaning they had like these crazy crowns, diadems, right, around their heads, and ornamented them with shells and feathers. They are fond of strings of heads round several parts of their bodies, right? Which would be fringes. The strings of heads of strings around different parts of their bodies. He's describing fringes without knowing how to describe fringes. Around several parts of their bodies, with the They use shells and turkey spurs around the tops of their moccasins to tinkle like little bells as they walk, right? And watch. You got Isaiah?
I got it right here.
Isaiah proves this to have been the custom of the Jewish women or something much like it. Let's read what Isaiah said. Read that.
I'm going to read it, Isaiah chapter 3 and start at verse 18. In that day, the Lord will take away the bravery of their tinkling ornaments about their feet and their calls and their round tires like the moon, the chains and the bracelets and the mufflers, the bonnets and the ornaments of the legs and the headbands and the
That's
tablets.
everything this cracker just said he's seen them wearing.
God.
Was the people in Africa wearing all this stuff when they found them? That's a question, right? Because some you got to think about, right? Prophetically, everybody discontinued from their heritage, right? But when it comes to the lawgivers, there's something that the lawgivers always kept, right? The real lawgivers, Levi, they've kept their spiritual ability to have power with the Most High. That's how they're able to do voodoo, right? Who was the lawgiver in America? The Northern Kingdom tribe of Gad, right? Who would be known as the Native American Indians. Something that they kept as the lawgiver would be the customs of the dress, the garment, right? That's why they're the ones that still wear fringes to this day with the borders of blue or violet, right? Tekelet.
Yeah.
So, like, it's there because the lawgiver in the portion that they took when they came to the Americas, that was their job to help keep and preserve the laws, right? Though they discontinued from their heritage, one of the laws they kept unto themselves was their garment. And as we see, this man made it a point to prove that in 1682, in slavery, they still dressed like this. The Southern Kingdom wasn't. Right? Issachar still wear ponchos with the fringes on the bottom of it. Why is that? Issachar was one of the Uto-Aztecian speaking people. They communicated with the Southern Plains tribes of the Indians, who Osage would count, and the Comanche would count that I come from. And we see in the movie that we just saw from the 1900s, these people still got on fringes. Right? So the lawgiver kept the laws unto himself, mainly pertaining to the garment. So reading on in the book, it says, and I'm at they religiously, because I read past the other part. I might be on the other page now. I don't know. Oh, no, I see it. They religiously observe. Yeah, bet. All right. They religiously observe certain feasts. The feast very similar to those enjoined on the Hebrews by Moses, right? Is there anybody else that we know on the planet besides Jewish people that do any feast days like the Jews? But besides us, the Israelites? Anybody besides us and the people pretending to be us that do the laws like the Israelites and the feast like the Israelites? Dress like Israelites? I don't know nobody else. The Mormons pretend to be the Northern Kingdom and they don't even keep the feast.
Nope.
Right? So, reading on, it says, they observe these feasts like the ones enjoined unto the Hebrews by Moses, as will hereinafter more particularly be shown. In short, many and indeed, it may be said, most of the learned men who did pay any particular attention to these natives in the wilderness at their first coming among them, meaning these English people that first saw the Native Americans, both English and Spaniard, right? Cracker, indeed, were struck with their general likeness to the Jews. Wouldn't the Spaniards and the English people know who the Jews were because they just kicked them out? Right? Columbus was a Spaniard Portuguese man who had a Spanish Portuguese Jew on the ship with him, Luis de Torres, right? So he know what the hell a Jew looked like. He went and grabbed one from Portugal, made him profess to be a Christian and convert from Judaism to Christianity 2 days before they hop on the ship to take him with them to speak Hebrew to these people. You don't think the Spaniards knew what they looked like? Cortez gets off the ship as the leader of the Spaniards and speaks to Montezuma, which is recorded in the book Lost Tribes and Promised Lands on page, on page 148 at the top, right? Montezuma tells Cortez that we the Israelites from the tribe of Issachar. Gad is right up the street and Reuben is on the island nearby. We waiting on the Messiah to come and get us. And Cortez says, oh, word? Well, guess what? I'm sent here from your Messiah. And Cortez gives him free passage to have control over the land. And then he gets hit in the back of the head by a rock. And Cortez takes control like he told him he could. Right? The point is, Cortez knew he was a Jew, an Israelite. He recorded it. It's in the book, page 148. Now, these guys are saying that they know that they're Israelites and they resemble the Jews, who they know are black people because they just lived with them. They just left, right? And apparently in the 1600s, 1682, a lot of them are still there. So contrary to popular belief, no matter what the Moorish Science Temple tells you, right? All of the Jewish people didn't get all the Jews didn't get kicked out by Jewish people in England, in Spain. Because in 1682, according to A Star in the West, right? Mr. Peters or whatever his name is said that he's seen brothers walking around America like he's seen brothers walking around England, right? So that's something y'all got to point out, which also means there were natives at the time that looked like me still, because I would more so resemble the ones that they seen in England, right? So reading on, it says, said they resemble the Jews. The Indians in New Jersey about 1681 are described as persons straight in their limbs. Hold on, Salaki. Beyond the usual portion in most nations, very seldom crooked or deformed. Their features regular, so they look like regular people, and they long, tall, right? Their countenances sometimes fierce. They're austere people, right? What the Bible say about the tribe of Gad? Faces of lions, huh? Ain't that fierce? Sounds like we still walking with the biblical narrative here. In common, resembling a Jew. Ain't a Jew a lion? Damn. Sound like we going with the biblical narrative still. Then a Christian. And who are the Christians supposed to be? Who would they call the Christians? White people, right?
That's right. That's right.
Damn. That's how you know that they didn't even think the Jews was black people in 1681. Or was white people, right? They knew they was black people. And they knew Christians was white people, right? Because he said that a Jew didn't look like a Christian. And we know Jewish people and Christians look just alike. Right? When you look at John Levine and you look at Joel Osteen, you can't tell that they're not cousins. Right?
Right.
Joe Osteen's supposed to be German. The other dude's supposed to be Jewish. Even though German and Jewish people are the same people, they would tell you that they're not, right? But this book is telling you a Jew and a Christian. And it's talking about the resemblance as if they look completely different, right? So that means that the Jew still has to be at this time a black person. So reading on. It's in just so y'all see where that's from Smith's History of New Jersey, right? Page 14. So it said, it shall now be our business to collect those facts in their history. So that means you have to recognize those as facts, right? There's natives in America, right, that looked like the Jews, the real Jews from the 1600s, from England, right? King James people, the Stuarts, and you all teach Negro only that King James was black. So what he say? He said Chief Joseph and his tablets stand, yeah, handed down. Yeah, that's facts. Chief Joseph also one of the brothers, right? So from Assyrian captivity and everything. So it's like it's telling you to record these facts because that's what they are. So you can't deny these things. That are well attested with those which may be known of them from personal knowledge of men of character or from their present manners, customs, and habits. So you got to look at these things from the way they carry themselves and their customs, their habits, the way they dressed, all that type of stuff. Plus their appearance and resemblance to the Jews that he just spoke about, right?
Customs and habits.
Right. And it should be constantly borne in mind that the corruption of both principle and practice introduced among them by the Christians, by their connection with Europeans, as we saw with the Osage nation, right? As soon as they got connected and they get some money, they didn't put on more Native American garments and act more native. They started acting like white people, right? Started getting with white people because that was who they were around at the time. That was the rulers of the land. So their connection with Europeans corrupted their principle and practice, it says. So, and it has been debased and has debased their morals and vitiated their powers of mind, that they are quite degenerated from their ancestors. So you can't look at these people now and think that they're the same as they are, or that they're the same as they used to be, right? Doesn't mean that their flock is destroyed or that their seed is destroyed, because we know that, Blake Griffin and his people still is Jews, right? And a lot of these natives got more melanin than Blake. So you can't automatically say that they're the product of white people.
Right.
He's not talking about their skin color as being a product of white people. He's talking about the way they carry themselves. That comes from Europeans, right? The fact that they don't practice their old Israelite habits and rituals and customs anymore is because they've interacted with white people and they've become degenerated and debased from their old customs, right? That's what the book is talking about. So, because we also saw in the movie, again, I'm going to tell you guys to go watch it, Killers of the Flower Moon. In that movie, the native men were getting with native women, right? It didn't stop them from looking native because they had already mixed with Assyrians. If Knock gets with a white woman and has a mixed looking kid, and his kid was with a white woman, that kid is still going to be an Israelite, but it's possible that their kid could look white. If that kid gets with a white person, the kid going to be a white looking person. It don't mean that Knock ain't the granddaddy no more. They still Israelites. But because you keep mixing with them people that look like the people that didn't look like your grandfather, you're going to look different. If the people you keep mixing with look like you, y'all going to have babies that look alike. Look at Austin Mahone and his wife. Austin is a black guy that looks like a white man. He's got really light skin and brown hair. He had a daughter with a blonde hair, and his daughter doesn't have brown hair. She has blonde hair and blue eyes. And she's got red skin, right? She looks white. Probably got a white girl name and all that stuff. If she gets with a white man, her kids are going to be Edomites, right? But she's still Israel, even though she looks white. So the point I'm trying to make is the reason natives look the way they look, a lot of them have light skin and straight hair and stuff, it's because the people they got with, though they were native, had light skin and straight hair. So they're going to make a light skin, straight hair baby. It's going to be harder for them to make a darker child with woolly hair. It don't work like that unless they get with a person with darker skin and woolly hair, like my dad did. And then you see all of the black come back. Look at me. Right? Back. So that's what I'm trying to get you guys to understand. But when a white guy gets with a black girl, yeah, sometimes it happened like that when you got Tia Tamara, you got Bob Marley and stuff. But Bob Marley gets with a white person, right? If he was to do that, the baby gonna look white. That's how it works. That's how recessive genes and stuff like that go. One of the Maury sisters got with a white guy, didn't they? if I'm not mistaken. And the baby looked white.
Mhm.
One of them got with a nigga, and the baby looked like a nigga. That's how it works. So just wanted to point that out though, right? They still dress like natives, still look like natives, and all that type of stuff. So now we're gonna move over to page 52. For you, it's gonna be page 91. That's crazy. Page 91 now. All them pages that's missing. It don't make no sense. We're gonna start at the Indian languages in general, if you could find that. There it is. Yep. All right, hold on. I gotta drink some water. Whew. All right. So, page 52 in the hard copy, 91 on the PDF. The Indian languages in general are very copious and expressive considering the narrow sphere in which they move. And again, real quick, just to pull this up, just to show you guys one more time. These native languages are connected to Hebrew. The Shemitic KW, contribution to Uto-Aztecan, which suggests remnants of two Hebrew dialect influences on Uto-Aztecan, from a Phoenician-like dialect, from the conservative pre-exilic dialect, preserved in the Bible, biblical Hebrew or Paleo Hebrew. So they say that Uto-Aztecan is close to Phoenician and Paleo Hebrew, and closely related to Aramaic dialect, right? Which they also say the Bible is made from. So that's something to understand. Uto-Aztecan, and also the Algonquin language. So in this book, we're about to go over these languages right quick, right? And then we'll basically be done for the lesson. This is just some stuff for y'all to bring out extra biblical sources to combat the Negro only doctrine. Because the reason we have to go through extra biblical sources is if the Negro onlys actually believe the Bible, there'd be no way for them to say that the Hispanics and Native aren't Israelites, because the Bible has curses that they fit, right? So because they don't believe the Bible, we're going to go through extra biblical sources that, state what the facts are. That way you could put two and two together. You could put them with the Bible and you'll have, a double whammy for the dumb long knee niggas, right? So Algonquin, it says there is much in the Algonquin language that shows evidence of the Hebrew language. And you guys can do your research to see what those things are, aside from the things we're about to read in this book, right? So says considering the narrow sphere in which they move, their ideas being few in comparison to civilized with civilized nations, they have neither cases nor declensions. They have few to no prepositions. They remedy this by affixes and suffixes, and their words are invariably the same in both numbers. So this is just like Hebrew. And watch this part. All this, if the writer's information be correct, is very similar to the Hebrew language, right? He has been informed from good authority, and the same in confirmed. Hold on. He has been informed by good authority, and the same in confirmed by a writer well acquainted with the subject, that there is no language known in Europe except the Hebrew without prepositions. So, and we know that the Hebrew that they speak over there, for the most part, it's not even like Hebrew the way we would speak it. It's a Yiddish that they use. But when they do the history on the characters that they use for that Hebrew, like in the lesson that Jonathan taught you guys, right? If they speak it correctly, it's still Hebrew that's spoken with those characters. So, they're able to see how it's spoken when they're not speaking Yiddish. That way they could prove that the Hebrew language, when it's spoken correctly with those characters, matches up the same way that the Native Americans would speak as well, right? So, has little to no prepositions. That is in separate and express words. The Indians have all the other parts of speech except as above. They have no comparative or superlative degrees of comparison more than the Hebrews. They form the last by some leading vowel of the divine name of the Great Spirit, which would be Yahweh, right? Added to the word. It is observed by some Jewish as well as Christian interpreters that the several names of God are often given as epithets by the Hebrews to those things which are the greatest, the strongest, and the best of their kind, as Ruach Elohim, almighty wind, right? So, like, for those of y'all that didn't understand what he's saying, they'll use epithets, like we would say, the Holy Spirit, right? They would say Ruach Kadash is how we would say it, and they would say Ruach HaKodesh, right? Well, they're saying that natives would also use epithets similar to that, but not just to describe, the Most High or something like that, but also to describe something as simple as a wind, right? So a mighty wind would be, a Ruach Elohim is basically what he's trying to say. So things like that. They would use these spiritual epithets to describe regular things in the environment as well. So that's just some things I wanted to point out, right? There's a bunch of things in this book you can read, but there's just some things in the language that you can point out real quick, and some things as far as the way they dress, right? And the feast days that it talked about. All of those are things that you had to be an Israelite in order to have those customs, in order to keep those customs and to know about those customs, right? Like, we've never been connected to Asian culture. We don't know what the Asian people do, what the Buddhists do. If you ain't never been a Muslim or lived around Muslims, you don't know what the Muslims do in their everyday life, right? So ain't no way from the other side of the world that these Hispanic and Native American people do exactly what the Israelites did, and they had no connection to the Israelites. It's no other culture on the planet that just is connected to other cultures by like way of coincidence. You know what I'm saying? It don't happen like that. So there had to be a connection, some type of coming into contact with them, which is what these books talk about. It's called A Star in the West, a humble attempt to discover the long-lost 10 tribes of Israel preparatory to their return to the beloved city, Jerusalem, right? In preparing for them to return to Jerusalem, we're trying to find out who these people is. And the people they discovered and decided to call the lost 10 tribes are Hispanic and Native Americans. And they did this research while we were in slavery. Right? So that's one book. We went over the last video we did about the Northern Kingdom, proving who they are, right? We went over 2nd Ezra chapter 13. We showed Columbus in the movie Conquest to Paradise, right? That you could find on YouTube. And we showed how in that movie, they even said, according to Columbus's memoirs that you can also find, but they actually showed it in the movie how Columbus said that he used the book of Esdras to find the route that the Native Americans used to get to the Americas, right? Let's jump back in on my nerves. Hold on a second. All right. So they used the route that the Native Americans found to get to the Americas, right? So I kind of want to pull that up real quick, if I may. Hold on. Where the hell?
I got it.
Okay. Wow. So, can you see that? Can you see that now?
God.
Oh, you got the movie?
God.
You pulling that up? Damn,
Asia is
I
the
ain't even
richest
know you did that.
kingdom,
Look at
the
you.
land of spices and gold. At the moment, there are only two ways of reaching it. By sea, sailing around the African continent. The journey takes a year. Or by land. But the Turks have closed this route to all Christians. There
So
is a
pause that
third
right
way.
quick. So Columbus just told you there's two routes you could take. And the one by land that you could take to get to where he's trying to go has been sealed off by the Turks, right? So he ain't gonna go that way. Only other way he could go is sailing around Africa. He just said that, right? So what's he gonna do? He could go through around by land and ride from, Europe and take the Alexander the Greek route, ride all the way from Macedonia to Punjab, and then take the route all the way around Indian Sea and go through Asia. You know what I'm saying? take a little boat to Hawaii or Guam or something like that, right? And then take another ship to the Americas and you there, right? That's the first route they wanted to take based off the land map that they had. But that route was shut off by the Turks. So only other way he could take is around Africa. He just explained that and pointed to it on the paper. I'm going to show y'all that route after we finish this part because I think he's going to say something about Ezra's, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go ahead, play that.
Yep.
By sailing west across the ocean sea.
The distance is unknown. It's said to be infinite.
Superstition. I believe the Indies are no more than 750 leagues west of the Canary Islands.
Can you be so certain?
The calculations of Toscanelli, Marin de Tir, Esdras.
Esdras is a Jew.
So what's west?
2 minutes, and already you're a dead man.
For telling the truth?
Yes. We are burning people for less. The men you're about to confront have no emotion.
All right. So he straight up told you Esdras, the calculations from Esdras, right? Toscanelli or whatever that dude name was. And then he mentioned another map maker. And then he mentioned Ezra, right? The first one to tell you the route that was taken, right? And when the guy mentioned Ezra, oh, that's a bad thing. Why? Because Columbus is around the time that they were expelling the Jews.
That's right.
So to mention a Jew was a bad thing. Why is that? Because the Jews was black people and they was trying to take the land from them, right? England, Portugal, Scotland, Wales, Spain, right? So now the route that Columbus used would be this thing right here, right? So the map he showed you, he went around, right? He told you we could go around Africa, but I think it's no more than this many clicks. So
Right.
he shows you there's a route here you could take. There's a route here. If we could get to this land, right? The natives would have went like this, right? And he's basically showing you all the routes they took based off of Ezra's calculations, right? He has the boat here at South America. In the way Ezra describes it in 2nd Ezra 13:40, he talks about how they took 1.5 years, right? And they started at the base of the land and worked their way up. That's why it took so long, right? Montezuma talks about how they all moved their way up, and the natives, Issachar, actually passed Mexico, and they lived way the hell over here, right? For a long time in the middle of the land with Gad, right? And eventually separated from Gad and moved down into Mexico to take their own land, right? Montezuma explains it like that. So Montezuma says the exact same thing that Ezra said, and they're not from the same time period at all, right? So Columbus, being somebody who believed in the Bible, read the Bible, did the calculations to try to find the land he was trying to find, made a map, and here it is. And on this map, he made every single possible route. If he would have been able to take the Ottoman Turks route, he would have went through here, took the boat, and sailed across here, as you see the ship, and went around Africa, and went like that. The route he decided to take was significantly shorter. That's why it didn't take him 1.5 years. Understand, everybody? So now we can start to get some other things, extra biblical sources and stuff. So thank you for pulling that out, Knock. That was clutch because I sure didn't have that thing ready.
No problem.
So, all right. So now we're just gonna go over a couple of these things just to show you guys some curses that would fit both of them, the Hispanics and natives and Judah together, and then we'll close it out, right? So these are just some things y'all could use. Y'all could buy this book too. These books that we're gonna read, majority of this stuff is gonna be from the book Indian Slavery in Colonial Times Within the Present Limits of the United States by Almond Wheeler Lauber, right? This book made in 1880, well, published in 1880. I'm sure it was before that because he's putting down things from 1776. As we read in A Star in the West, right? He's giving quotes from people from the 1680s. This guy, William Lauber, or Almond Wheeler Lauber, is giving quotes from people in the 1776, right, during the Revolution, giving quotes from people from 1726, 1714, 1647, all these different things, right? So we're going to go over some of these quotes from this book. It's got the page numbers and all that if you guys ever get your hands on it. Yeah, so y'all could go back and look at that stuff. But this is an example of Judah and Ephraim being put in the city together in slavery, right? It says, in all southern colonies, Indian slaves worked in the fields side by side with Negroes up to the time of the Revolution, 1776. So he's proving that if we're talking about things happening in 1682, right? The guys that were writing A Star in the West and doing their research from things that were published way back then, they're reading things being published while natives and Negroes are being enslaved together, right? Give me Jeremiah 50 and 33.
It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50 and verse 33.
Because this is something else that has to be spoken of when we talk about the Negro only doctrine and combating it, right? I have a question for all long knee believing people. Since the knee is the only thing that grows on you duck monkeys. If you're an Israelite and you believe yourself to be a Jew from the tribe of Judah, Benjamin, Levi, you're supposed to be oppressed together in the land you're in right now with the Northern Kingdom. So if it ain't the Hispanic and Native Americans, where and who are they? Jeremiah 50 and 33.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50 and verse 33. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together.
Yeah, man.
And all that
Go ahead.
And all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go.
You see that? So the people, according to the prophecy of the Bible, that we will be in captivity to, they're still holding us in captivity together, and they refuse to let us go. So there has to be somebody that you guys were in captivity with that, you know, would be the Northern Kingdom. Problem is, a lot of y'all don't know much history, so there's no teaching you guys that y'all actually was enslaved with the Indians. Because first thing y'all say is, nah, the Indians had slaves too. They was plantation owners and stuff like that. Because you learn that in school. Because the white man has a curriculum. When he teaches that part of the history, he teaches it to try to separate black people from natives. It ain't like many of y'all go to school with Native Americans anyway, right? So you wouldn't have anybody be able to tell you the facts. So when you hear that, you just get a hate for natives or whatever, right? Oh yeah, they were slave masters too. So But the fact of the matter is, when you go into the history of it, yeah, there was one or two tribes that actually had slaves, but the majority of them would allow slaves to run to the plantation or to the reservation, right? And they would allow them to live like any other native. Some of them even got to be, you know, chiefs. Got to marry the chief's daughter. All type of stuff, right? So, like, there's situations where that happened, and just because the white man would record that there were black people on these reservations, right? They would sometimes record that they were living as slaves, but when you read the natives' records, the natives are telling you that the black people were living as kings on the reservation. So, you know, I guess it's up to whoever you want to believe on that fact, but you know, situation gonna be what the situation is, whether you like it, understand it, believe it or not. So moving on, we're just gonna get a couple of these. Deuteronomy 28:68 says, by the time King Philip's war 1675 to 1676, the colonists were well accustomed to the sending of Indian captives out of the country. So they also were put on ships, right? Wasn't no natives ever put on ships. They didn't go through Deuteronomy 28. That's a big curse that all the Israelites got to go through. How come we went through that, but they didn't go through that? Well, they did. You just didn't know it. You never looked it up. Didn't do any research, right?
Right.
Says the colonists were well accustomed, meaning it happened often, to the sending of Indian captives, not Indians on reservations, not Indians from the land, Indian captives, meaning they were in slavery, shackle and chain, out of the country, and to the use of them in their homes. Meaning not only were they slaves out the country, they was butlers and house niggas too. Right? The policy followed toward the Indians captured in this war was the same as shown in the Pequot War. What's the Pequot War? Well, that's the war that started Thanksgiving. Hello. The captives were either exported for sale in the European or West Indian slave markets. How you get to the West Indies from America if you're not put on a ship? And were retained in servitude. Oh, damn. Slavery in the colonies in America. Who else was in slavery in the colonies in America in 1675? Not Granddaddy and them, right? So, in the beginning of the war, Captain Mosley captured 80 Indians. That's one captain who were retained in Plymouth. The following September, 178 were put on a board a vessel. So it started with 80. By the next year, 178 was put on a ship commanded by Captain Sprague, who sailed from Plymouth with them from Spain in the same year. So now you're going from Spain, the West Indies, to Plymouth, back to Spain, right? In the same year, 1675, Indians probably from the coast of Maine were landed as slaves in Fayal, one of the Azores. That's an island, ladies and gentlemen. So these people being put on ships, right?
That's right.
That's just one group. It says it was accustomed, right? This was a thing that happened all the time. So who are y'all to say that, Indians were never put on ships and they didn't go through Deuteronomy 28:68? This is from the book Indian Slavery in Colonial Times, right? That's when slavery happened, colonial times, within the present limits of the United States. So this book is on slavery in the United States. Who's it going to involve? Niggas and Hispanics and Native Americans. And who's this talking about? The Native Americans. This is page 125, right? Reading on. Transportation of slaves. I'll probably finish here and then we'll move on, so we can finish and get out of here because it's already been 2 hours. So again, in 1675, 15 Indians were captured and sent to Boston, tied neck to neck, right? Like galley slaves. Oh, damn. Shackle and chain.
That's right.
Proof now. Now, I'm not just saying it. Page 126. The next page. Much against the will of the populace, they were given trail, right? All were finally acquitted, except 2 were sentenced to be sold out of the country as slaves. During these years, 1675 and 76, one finds mention of the sale of Indians in Plymouth in groups of about 100, 57, 3, 160, 10, and 1, just in Plymouth. So let me see. Hold on. Let me do the math. This is 1673 with the ships they could make in 1675, 1676, right? That year, time span, right? So we got 100. Well, first we started with 2 plus 100 plus 57 plus 3 plus 160 plus 10 plus 1. That's 333 slaves from Plymouth in a year. From whatever record he's reading. That don't mean it was that it wasn't more, right? Oh, plus 15. So 348. Right? It says, and then it says, in the record showed the sale by Plymouth colonial authorities of 188 Indians. So the authorities themselves sold 188 Indians. How about that? Meaning after they have a trial, they decide to sell them somewhere, like they did the two at the, or the one at the beginning or whatever, to wherever he was sold to, right? The actual cops and stuff like that, they taking slaves and selling them, 188 of them. In Massachusetts Bay Colony, a similar disposal of captives was accomplished. On one occasion, about 200 were transported and sold. So in one situation, they had about 200 sent out, right? So it says there is an extent of paper written by Daniel Gookin in 1676, one item of which as follows: a list of the Indian children that came in with John of Pakenouge. The list shows 21 boys and 11 girls distributed throughout the colony. See that? So I don't know what more you want, man. Don't know what more you want. We didn't get you movies, books, precepts, multiple lessons. If you can't combat a Negro only at this point, the Most High might not be dealing with you. Like, for real. And then we got precepts you get that prove that we were actually oppressed together, right? And where we're supposed to be taken from. Because again, like all the things Jeremiah talked about in Jeremiah 31, verse 8, Jeremiah 16, verse 14, right? Us being taken from the land of the north with them people that he read, that he spoke about, that we read earlier in Jeremiah 50 and 33, that are supposed to be oppressed with us together, where the enemies refuse to let us go, right? Who the hell else is it in the land of the north with us if it ain't the Hispanic Native Americans? I'm confused. It don't make sense. So, the Negro only wants you to think that the Northern Kingdom's in Africa. The thing I'm going to say in closing is, if they're in Africa, we have to go to Africa. Because according to Jeremiah's prophecy, we're supposed to be oppressed together, right? So, Zechariah 11:14 talks about the staff being broken. Ezekiel 37:19-20 talk about the staff being broken. I'm going to put back together and put on a sign. That's why we made the 12 tribes chart, right? For the people within the land that we are, so we could come back together. The people that fit the curses that we fit on this side of the earth that we're in are the Hispanic and Native Americans, right?
Right.
So that's what we have to understand, and that's what the facts are, whether you like it, understand it, believe it or not. The people we're going to be saved from this land of the north are the people that are in the land of the north with us. The Most High not going to take some Africans pretending to be the tribe of Gad from the Zulu nation in East Africa, right? He ain't going to go to Zimbabwe and grab them people and move them to the Americas, drop them off, and then pick them back up and say, yeah, now we got the remnant. Like, nah, that ain't how it works. That ain't how that works. We're supposed to be oppressed together in the land we're in right now. The remnant is supposed to be scattered to the four corners, according to Isaiah 11, right? The remnant scattered to the four corners. By the time we get the remnant, the majority, the bulk, is supposed to be already gathered. Who would that be? If you're Judah, Benjamin, Levi, then the northern kingdom got to be the people around Judah, Benjamin, Levi. Right? The Puerto Ricans, the Dominicans, the Mexicans, the Cubans, Native Americans. Right? That's who it is. Whether you like it, understand it, believe it, or not. So, like I said, precepts for that, just real quick. Zechariah chapter 2, verse 6 and 7 explains that we're going to be in the land of the north, right? Jeremiah 16:14 explains that we get saved from the land of the north, right? Jeremiah 31:8 explains that we get saved from the land of the north, Israel and Judah, right? Jeremiah 50 and 33 explains that Israel and Judah are supposed to be oppressed together. So they're not going to get moved from a land to be oppressed together. They've been oppressed together in this land for a long time now. Right. The enemy refused to let them go.
Right.
He didn't let Gad go to Zimbabwe and then Gad got to be picked up as the remnant. No. The two groups in Boke are here right now together. So Zechariah 11:14 tells you how they broke apart, how they separated. Jeremiah 17 and 4 tells you that they discontinued from their heritage, so they wouldn't even know that they're related, right? Ezekiel 37, 19 and 20 explains to you how we basically had a sign, right? We get put back together. Now you got to make it make sense. Everybody got to see it.
Right.
That's why we have the chart, right? That's biblical. Baruch 2 and 30. I knew they wouldn't hear me, but in the land of their captivity, they shall remember themselves. That's what we're doing, right? So that's how this goes, man. Those are some precepts for y'all. So, those are some things y'all can write down. I can put them in whatever order you want, along with the things we taught here. Get those books, A Star in the West, Lost Tribes and Promised Lands. They're 2 easy books you can read. Have a lot of customs for the natives and Hispanics in it. The way they dressed, their resemblance to Negroes, right? So, all of these things are things y'all could use to combat the Negro-only doctrine. Of course, just learning the history, right? And the curses, Deuteronomy 28. Can't forget those. Those are probably the most important. Is there a sign and a wonder forever on all our generations? Don't matter who's talking bad about it. So that's all I got, man. We can close it out.
Con. All praises, all praises.
Sorry it went long. So, want to make sure y'all had some stuff y'all could use to combat this thing. Hopefully the brothers in the camp learned something because y'all asked for this lesson. I did it for y'all. So, that's that. I ain't got nothing else to say.
Con. All praises to the Most High. That was a edifying lesson. I know I was edified on some things. Some things I already knew and some things I didn't know. So all praises for that. All praises. So it is late. So I'm just going to go over a few things as I do all the time. I first want to give the shout out to those who came into the class late. I hope everyone was edified with this. And I hope everyone wrote down the precepts. Get the book. Captain, can you take the book again for them so people would know that book you brought out, which was, well, it's called A Star in the West. There's also another book that we brought out in a previous class that is called
Lost Tribes and Promised Land.
Lost Tribes and Promised Land. I have that book right. That's another great source to use.
No more. The other camp got that one.
Con. So excuse me. I'm still a little bit hoarse from there's a little cold. But let me go ahead and get some of the shout outs of those who came into the class a little bit after it started. Then we're going to do a few more announcements, and then we're going to go ahead and wrap it up and go home. So I'm going to give a shout out to Soldier Araya, Shalom, Soldier Kadash, Shalom, Sister Belen Christella, Shalom, Soldier Antonio and Soldier James, Shalom, Sister Gabriella, Sister L, Shalom, Rob Barnhill, he had a lot to say. He had a lot to say in the comments. Shalom to you, brother. Excuse me. Shalom to Keith Stringer. Shalom to Regality. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Regality Dance. Shalom to the Real Graham. Shalom to King Gabar. And shalom to Sister.
Damn, I didn't even know Rob was saying all this stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, Rob, King James is not gay, bro.
Right.
Nah. I don't know if you're still in here or not. He definitely not gay. That man had like 8 children. He had a wife. That was something that what's that name? What's that man's name?
Oh, I know you talk doggone it. Is it Wesley? What is his name? I know you're talking about. I can't think of their name right now though, but I know who you're talking about. He's the one that started the doggone lie.
It's a man that didn't get knighted by King James.
Right.
After King James died, this man made the lie up. I forget his name right now. I keep thinking Oliver Cromwell, but that's not him.
No, that's not it. That's not.
I get them mixed up. They both was enemies of King James and stuff.
Yeah.
But this dude, he made up that lie after not being knighted, and that's how the lie came out that King James was gay. He's not gay at all. That was never a thing. Nope. And it was known that he wasn't gay. Right.
So, absolutely.
He was a straight man, very intelligent. You know what I'm saying? Knew a lot of stuff, had a lot of conspirators, had a lot of people trying to get him, a lot of people trying to kill him, a lot of people didn't want him on the throne. Right. So yeah. We have a lesson on King James and his family. We did that on this channel. I can't remember what it's called, but it's from the beginning. Yeah. You can go look for it. All right. So that's all I got for y'all tonight, man. Y'all stay tuned for the lessons from the other brothers this week. And yeah, we'll catch y'all next week.
So let me go real quick before we end class and we get to Daniel. Real quick, any brothers, again, as I always say from the beginning to the end, any brothers who are looking to put their brick in for this kingdom and want to join with Anointed House of Saints, please do so by sending us an email with your interest by email to anointedhos@gmail.com. Also, if there's any sisters who are looking to also do the same, to put your brick in to build this congregation for the kingdom with the Anointed House of Saints, we have a class called the Sisters Corner. Please send your interest by sending an email to anointedhos@gmail.com. Also, I did get a word about Passover tickets. And I mentioned that we will be having our annual Passover, our second annual Passover Feast with Anointed House of Saints 2024 in Atlanta, Georgia on April. Oh, let me get that. Matter of fact, let me just go ahead and pull it up for you real quick so I don't even misspeak. Let's find it here real quick. I'll bring up, there we go. It's April 21st. That would be, I believe, a Sunday. We will be gathering starting around the Thursday that week before the weekend, Thursday before the weekend. It says, those who want to attend, visit our website to purchase tickets. Tickets drop for sale tomorrow. And you go to www.anointedhouseofsaints.org. That's where you will be able to purchase the tickets. Anyone who's interested, please visit the website and you will be able to purchase tickets. Again, the tickets drop tomorrow for the second annual Passover Feast with the Anointed House of Saints 2024. We pray and hope that you're able to attend. We're going to have a grand and wonderful time. With that, I want to get Daniel, excuse me, I'm losing my voice. Daniel 7 and 18. Slakia.
Man, been singing.
I wish I could right now. I can't do it right now. It's the book of Daniel, chapter 7, and verse 18. Let me get this off the screen here. All right. And excuse me. Oh, my goodness. Slakia.
That man sound like you just smoked a cigarette.
No, I've been sitting here, man, trying to clear my throat without making noise.
You need a lozenge.
Man.
Black seed oil.
I got my oregano oil, and I'm about to go to it after this.
Yeah, all right.
And it reads, but the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. By Hashem HaMashiach Yahawashi. With that, I want to thank you again for being with us on another Milk Monday. We want to see everyone in class all week. We have our classes on. Our next class will be Wednesday. While out Wednesday, we have Thursday Night Live. Friday night prayer. We have Friday night prayer every Friday night starting at 9 p.m. Also, we have our Sabbath morning brew with Captain Aharon. We hope to see you there. With that, I am Officer Knock.
Captain all the aristocrat.
We are the Anointed House of Saints. And with that, we say to you, Shalom.
Shalom.
This is not a test.
Black skin, black sauce, black Jesus, black music, black skin, black sauce, black Jesus, black music, black skin, black sauce, black Jesus, black music, black skin, black thoughts, black Jesus, black music, black music, black music, black music, black music.